humans, I'm Yoshiller, and welcome back to my new Pokemon Snap walkthrough. This is the final part of my walkthrough, and it shall consist of me showcasing the pictures that are missing in my Photodex. Yeah, throughout my walkthrough, I tried to be as thorough as I could be in taking every photo of every Pokemon in every photo category, but there were still one or two photo opportunities that I was never able to find. And beyond that, even when I did find photo opportunities for specific Pokemon, I never quite got those photos into the Diamond rating. Getting Diamond rank photos is not necessary to complete the game, but it is something I said I wanted to do when I made this walkthrough, so it's something that I still personally need to do. To be specific, the overall goal of this walkthrough was to showcase myself earning a Diamond ranking for every single Pokemon in this game in every single photo category. And so, before I officially conclude this walkthrough, I'd like to ensure that this goal is met. So, in order to complete my Photodex, here are first the photos that I missed. Let's start with Exeggutor. I never got the 3-star or the 4-star photo for this Pokemon. These opportunities present themselves in the nighttime version of the beach course, which is a course that is only accessible once the main game is finished. The 3-star opportunity presents itself if you can manage to lure the Crab Brawler into awakening the Exeggutor. The 4-star opportunity becomes available while the Exeggutor is chasing down the Crab Brawler. Both of these photo opportunities are fairly quick and simple to obtain, and they lend themselves pretty well to Diamond opportunities. In contrast, one photo that is not easy to obtain is 4-star Inkay. Well, rather the photo itself is easy to obtain, but the Diamond scoring version of it is not. I never got 4-star Inkay back in my walkthrough, and it took me over 2 hours to finally get a photo of it with a Diamond status. This photo is available in the evening version of the Reef stage, and all you have to do is hit the first Crystal Bloom of the course with an Illumina Orb. This will cause 2 Inkay to jump out of the water, and getting a photo of it is fairly simple. But to get a Diamond photo, your precision and timing must be perfect. This might just be the most precise photo I ever had to take in this walkthrough. The only saving grace is that it's at the beginning of the course, and finally, after restarting the course and taking photos of it over and over and over again, I finally got 4-star Diamond Inkay. Also on the Reef, I never got 4-star Mantine, which is just available during the daytime version of the course, but this is a little more understandable that I missed. See, this Mantine only appears once the main game is beaten. Actually, on that topic, once the main game is beaten, a lot of other Pokemon will show up on older courses. Namely, specific legendary and mythical Pokemon will now show up on older courses and sometimes interact with older Pokemon, but then there are other Pokemon like Lapras and Pikachu which will just randomly show up on other courses too. So in this instance, once the main game is beaten, an extra Mantine with a Pikachu on its back will show up on the Reef course. If you are able to hit the Crystal Blooms throughout the level with Illumina Orbs, this Mantine and Pikachu duo will be surfing throughout the course. In order to get a 4-star photo, you must get a photo of them while they jump out of the water. At first, I was able to get a Diamond photo of both of these Pokemon fairly easily, though both of them were barely scraping into the Diamond scoring territory. I was, however, able to get a much better photo of this duo, and that's the photo that I wound up using for this video's thumbnail. Look at that, it's basically perfect! Now, before I leave the Reef, I also wanted to point out that there is still one more Pokemon whose photo I missed, and that is 4-star Wailmer. And yeah, I can see how I missed this one because getting 4-star Wailmer to appear at all involves me interacting with 2 completely different Pokemon. You get 4-star Wailmer by getting the Machamp and Sharpedo to race against one another, which you can do by throwing an Illumina Orb at the Machamp while it's stretching. After they race, a Wailmer will rise to the surface and shoot water out of its blowhole. This photo is Wailmer's 4-star pose, and once I took it, I was able to get a Diamond photo of it pretty quickly. And then another Pokemon that I somehow missed was 4-star Octillery, which I was able to get by replaying the beach stage, hitting an Octillery with an Illumina Orb, and then being able to snap a fairly high scoring photo. I don't know how I missed this. This was very easy to get, but hey, I have it now. Excellent. Out of the Reef and into the Undersea, the next photo I never got was 4-star Tentacruel. This photo is only available on the level 2 version of the Undersea course. If a player manages to hit a Tentacruel with an Illumina Orb while approaching the downward descent of the course, then a Tentacruel will show up near the end of the course. Then, if the player plays music near that Tentacruel, the Tentacruel will dance alongside a Frillish, and this will lead to a great 4-star opportunity. In a similar vein, I never obtained a 3-star Frillish. Once again, this Pokemon is only available on the level 2 variation of the Undersea, and it requires a player to hit multiple Frillish with an Illumina Orb during the downward descent. Hit as many Frillish as possible, and the more Frillish you hit, the more will show up at the end of the course. And this is where a 3-star Frillish photo is available. And thankfully, it's not difficult to get a Diamond ranking picture from there. Another Undersea Pokemon photo that I never obtained was of Cradily. Yeah, I spent all this time playing the Undersea and I never got 3-star Cradily. It's really easy to get too, I don't know how I missed it, but simply put, just throw a fluff fruit near one, wait for the Cradily to consume said fruit, and then take a picture of it while it's reacting afterward. Boom! 3-star Cradily. On the very same run, I also finally got 4-star Diamond Luvdisc, which I was able to get by hitting the Crystal Bloom near the end of the course. Once 4 Luvdiscs swarmed to it, I played some music, made them rotate side by side, and took a nice photo that was able to net me a Diamond ranked photo. Yeah, I don't really know why I missed so many Pokemon photos in the Undersea. I spent a lot of time here, but apparently all the photos that I missed in my Photodex are all on these water courses. And then the final photo that I needed in order to fill up my Photodex was also in the Undersea, and this was a 4-star Chinchou. The 4-star opportunity for this Pokemon only appears in the level 2 version of the Undersea, and it required me to hit a low-swimming Chinchou with an Illumina Orb with pretty precise timing. However, after doing so, a photo opportunity presented itself, and after saving it to my Photodex, Professor Mirror congratulated me on finally filling out the entirety of my Photodex. Every Pokemon, every photo category. While this is certainly a momentous occasion, and I don't mean to take away from it, and while I did get some rewards for accomplishing such an arduous task, there was still more work that I had to do on the Photodex in order to complete this walkthrough. Namely, there was still about half a dozen photos that I had saved to my album that were not in the Diamond scoring rank. Specifically, these were 1-star Clamperl, which I obtained by playing the level 3 version of the Undersea course over and over and over again until I finally got it. 2-star Qwilfish, who presented itself on the level 2 version of the Undersea after I was able to feed one some fluff fruit and then boop it again with another fluff fruit while it was eating. 4-star Pikachu, who did make itself available on the back of that Mantine that I mentioned earlier, but an even easier 4-star Pikachu photo made itself available on the nighttime version of the beach course, and that photo was worth a lot more points. 1-star Mareanie, which I just never got, so I replayed the reef course over and over until I finally got it, and it wound up not being too bad to get, so huzzah for that. And finally, Minior, for whom I needed 2-star and 4-star photos. I even recall previously commenting on the fact that I couldn't get a good 4-star photo back when I played the nighttime version of the desert course. And it turns out a proper 4-star Diamond Minior photo is only available once the main game is beaten. But now that I've beaten the main game, a new Minior photo presented itself. It's actually a little complicated to get. Several Minior are scattered throughout the first portion of the nighttime version of the desert, and revealing all of them with Illumina Orbs causes a flock of Minior to fly by in the sky. By taking a photo of them flying by with precise timing, I was finally able to earn a 4-star Diamond Minior photo. And then separately, I just got a better 2-star one by booping one with a fruit. And with that, that is every Pokemon in the game with a Diamond photo in my Photodex. And so, with all of that said and done, now my Photodex is complete, and the goal that I set at the start of my new Pokemon Snap walkthrough was now finally fulfilled. However, I cannot end this video yet as there are 2 important matters left to discuss: the requests that exist within new Pokemon Snap, and my overall Photodex score. Let's start with the requests. I wound up doing most of these requests by accident over the course of the walkthrough, but they certainly would have helped me in finding 3-star and 4-star opportunities for most of the Pokemon within the game. With that said, because I found most of these photo opportunities, I wound up doing most of the requests. This meant that there were only 6 requests left in the game that I never did. At least, never did on camera. The 6 requests that I missed over the course of my walkthrough were 1-Hand Freeze, a Brave Leap, Take One Please, At Home in the Dark, Houndoom's Breather, and 2 Golurk. For 1-Hand Breeze, I had to simply take a photo of Grookey at the park doing a handstand. From what I can gather, this seems to be mostly RNG dependent, as there's nothing that directly causes the Grookey to do a handstand. I guess that makes it a bit more understandable as to how I missed this photo throughout my series, but in any case, Grookey finally did do a handstand and I was able to snap a photo of it. For a Brave Leap, this one is only available in the DLC course of the Badlands during the daytime. By taking the alternate path on the course during the day, I can see a Tepig walking along a narrow cliff. I didn't really take the alternate path during the daytime, so that would explain how I missed this photo over and over and over. But by hitting Tepig with an Illumina Orb, I can cause the Tepig to do a jump across the gap, and by taking a photo of it while it does the jump, I was able to complete this A Brave Leap request. And like most other requests, it does lead to a 4-star photo opportunity, although it's not a very high scoring one. Either way, this request is now done, and I never have to worry about it again. Take One Please focuses on Lapras eating a fluff fruit. I was able to clear this request by heading to the end of the reef course during the evening. At that point, I threw a bunch of fluff fruit at the nearby Lapras until one started to consume a fruit, and once it did so, I took a photo. Pretty easy, I don't really know how I missed this one. At Home in the Dark takes place at the laboratory. It's weird, I technically did what I needed to do for this request by accident during the course of my walkthrough, but I never actually fulfilled the request. That is to say, I did all the steps, I just didn't take the perfect photo. So on this course, you can lure the Meowth to travel to underneath the lab and scare out a Rattata. I actually did this in my walkthrough, but in order to actually get the prime Rattata photo for this request, you have to take a photo of it just as it's about to exit the course. So alright, I got a precise photo of this Rattata just as it was about to be out of my view, and then I was able to clear this request. Houndoom's Breather is another bit of an RNG-dependent request, just like the Grookey-focused one I mentioned earlier. It's a simple one, though. At the start of the Ruins course, there are 2 Houndoom that can be seen, and every now and then, one of them may perform a stretching animation. So I just replayed the course a couple of times until one of the Houndoom finally did this pose, and bada bing, bada boom, I cleared the request. And the last request is an interesting one. It's just called To Golurk. This one also takes place on the Ruins course. Apparently, if you hit the Behem throughout the course with Fluff Fruit, they'll interact with the Golurk. And that causes Golurk to fly around at the end of the course, and taking a photo of them while they're flying around will complete this request. I never knew this. I barely scraped by with my original 4-star photo of Golurk, but this makes getting 4-star diamond rank for the Pokemon so much easier! Look at how many more points I got with this new photo. Yeah, I guess I really should have been paying attention to these requests much earlier on. But speaking of points, my secondary goal throughout this walkthrough was to also reach rank 1 on my friends list. And so, after every couple of parts in my series, I would check and see where my ranking stood among my friends, and I slowly climbed up the list. For the final few parts of my walkthrough, I only had one more player to beat, and I was hoping that merely filling out the remainder of my Photodex would bring in the final few points that were required. But alas, I was still a few points shy of beating the score. With that said, just naturally playing the game and pursuing every star opportunity of every Pokemon still got me to over 4 million points, which is already more than what most players have done within this game. But still, I had to do a little bit of extra work and earn a few extra points in order to be rank 1 on my own friend list. So I went back and updated a few of my photos. In hindsight, it's actually kind of interesting to see how much I've grown as a player. It still took me some time to actually get better photos for a fair share of my Pokemon, but now that I had a better understanding of the game, I could better set up certain scenarios. At first, my Photodex increased in small increments, but every once in a while I would get a nice, juicy photo worth a ton of points. And after about another 2 or 3 hours of playing the game, I finally increased my score enough to reach rank 1 of my friend list. My final score was 4,183,077 points. This score puts me at rank 397 in North America and rank 811 in the world. Yeah, out of 2 million plus players, I'd say that that's pretty good. You ever just rise to the top 0.01% of players just to complete a video series on your YouTube channel? Well, that's what I did. It's no wonder this game took me over 1.5 years to complete. And at this point, I don't really care if anyone else on my friend list or anyone else in the world surpasses my score. The fact of the matter is that I did reach rank 1 on my friend list and I did get within the top 1,000 in the world at one point, and I have video proof. I'm ready to put this game down and ideally never look back at it. But hey, it actually is kind of cool to look back at this video series and showcase my growth as a photographer. And in retrospect, it's kind of neat to look at my new Pokemon Snap walkthrough as also a journey of me reaching the top 1,000 photographers in the world. And there you have it. That's everything in new Pokemon Snap. And now, to close out this walkthrough, I'm gonna showcase the entirety of my Photodex while I go ahead and provide my closing thoughts on this game and my walkthrough of it. Well, I am so happy to be done with this walkthrough, but I also know, like, this walkthrough will not go down as one of my greats. Not by a long shot. But you know, I am glad I recorded this game because the fun of being able to record a new game is to be able to document my initial reactions to it. And I had wanted a Pokemon Snap sequel for so long, and we finally got it. So I had to do content for it on my channel. I had to. But what I didn't know was that this walkthrough was going to be 73 parts long. That's not what was supposed to happen. I thought that this walkthrough was gonna be like 20 parts long. And then the more I played it, the more I was like, okay, maybe it'll be like 50 parts long. And now, here we are on part 73, 140 hours into it, and only now am I done. And look, I'm glad that this game has so much content in it. It's definitely quite the expansive sequel to the original Pokemon Snap, and that's awesome, but it makes walkthroughing this game a nightmare. Genuinely, I feel like I would have enjoyed this game more had I not tried to go for completion of it. I feel like that's what really took things away. And I also acknowledge that the organization and structure of my walkthrough could have been very, very different and a lot more streamlined. But at the same time, that's the risk I take when I try to record a game right when it comes out, or even technically before it comes out, because I got the game 16 hours early because I downloaded the Japanese version. But you guys understand, I wanted to really rush into this game, and when the game first came out and I was powering through videos, I did what, like 23 videos in 3 days? That's pretty crazy, even if it is just me sitting down and recording commentary while I play a game that isn't that intensive. But then I really dropped the ball, because at first I was doing a walkthrough for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and I didn't realize it was going to take me like an hour or two to record one individual video of that game. So that walkthrough was at a very, very slow pace. And I was also still recording Animal Crossing New Horizons at the time. So it made it very difficult to work on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity because I was such a commitment just to do one video. And then new Pokemon Snap came out and I switched gears to that and powered through a bunch of videos. And then the DLC for Age of Calamity came out. So then I changed gears back to Age of Calamity because I figured that was the more relevant game at the time. And then I powered through that. And then here we are a year and a half later, and I'm only just now wrapping up new Pokemon Snap. And had I been a bit more organized with this walkthrough, it probably could have been 50 parts or so, maybe even 40. But at the same time, the reason this walkthrough went on for so long was because I was just rushing through trying to beat the game. And if I didn't start recording this game right when it came out, I don't think I would have ever done a walkthrough for it. Now that I know what this game is, I don't know that I want to go back and play the game again. And that's no mark against the game. It's a very well-designed game, and I had a lot of fun with it. But now that I know the scope of what it takes to complete this game, I don't want to do it again. So I'm glad I did it when I went through. I'm glad I was able to document my experience with this game and showcase myself discovering things. That's part of the fun with this game, was trying to figure out all the puzzles. And in fact, I apparently even contributed to other people in the community figuring stuff out. So that's pretty cool. But ultimately, I'm really ready to put this game down and really ready to put this walkthrough to rest. It's just, I wasn't expecting this walkthrough to take a year and a half, and I'm so sorry, and I know a lot of people have moved on. We have a whole other generation of Pokemon games out now, and I know I really should stop working on a project when there's no longer viewer interest in it, but there's still a sense of pride that I guess I have, where I want to finish what I start. I want to be a channel where I work on a series, and people know that I am committed to finishing what I start, and that's what I did with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's what I did with Animal Crossing New Horizons, and now that's what I did with new Pokemon Snap. And I'm glad I finished it, because then I don't have to worry about people teasing me saying, you never finish what you start. No, I finished this, but new Pokemon Snap wasn't supposed to be in that category. It wasn't supposed to take me a year and a half. If it wasn't supposed to take us, it wasn't supposed to be as arduous and time consuming as Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing, and that's what happened, is that it wound up taking me 2-3 hours to record one video of new Pokemon Snap, just because I had to focus on solving puzzles. And even if I knew how to solve the puzzle, certain things like Inkay, 4-star Diamond Inkay, just took forever to finally get a Diamond photo up because the game's scoring system was a little finicky. So it kind of made me not always want to record new Pokemon Snap, because I know I'd have to sit down and that could take 2-3 hours, and that's 2 or 3 hours I could spend maybe making 3-4 videos for something else. Either way, I am still ultimately glad I did this video series. It was a good excuse to see the pros and cons of recording a game right when it comes out. The original intention of my channel, or at least as of a couple years ago, was to alternate between recording new games and old games, and recording old games until the new games come out. But then I didn't realize that the new games were going to take me a year and a half to complete. So that's a lesson that I learned. I now know that I need to really set time aside to record a lot of these newer games, especially if I want to record stuff like Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and whatnot. But ultimately, the most important thing with these videos is that I hope that they were entertaining. This is definitely a slower game, so I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and it's not really arcadey like the original Pokemon Snap is. Like the original Pokemon Snap, to this day, I can sit down and beat that game in under an hour. And I love that game to bits, and that's why I was so excited for a sequel. But I acknowledge this game is really meant to be a bit more atmospheric. You really are supposed to really like sit down and maybe play this game for an hour or two before you go to bed. The designers definitely intended for people to compete and get high scores and compare their scores with one another. That's why there even is a ranking system. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad that I was able to showcase that. I'm glad that I made that secondary goal of this walkthrough to beat everyone else in my friend list. That's cool. I was really able to utilize this game's modes to its full potential. But at the same time, there is still a bit of charm in the original Pokemon Snap that I think is lacking in this game. But I do still think this game warrants its $60 price tag. There's a lot of content in it. There's a lot of gameplay to be had, and there's a lot of fun to be experienced. So overall, what I think of this game is that I have no interest in replaying it. I have no interest in caring whether or not someone beats my score in this game. But I am still glad that I did these videos and that I made this walkthrough. But I'm really glad that it's over. I have a lot of other projects I want to do, and I don't have to worry about new Pokemon Snap just kind of lingering over me now. And I'm glad that I was able to complete what turned out to be such a monumental game. But I don't think any of these videos are going to be standout videos of mine. I mean, besides acknowledging the fact that I completed this walkthrough, I don't really know that there's going to be much of a reason to go back and watch these videos for entertainment value. I don't know how many people are going to look back on this walkthrough and say, oh man, remember that time Yoshiller got that 4-star diamond Aerodactyl? Oh man, that was the best. Like, no, that's not really what this series was supposed to be, and that's not really what it is. But it is still a walkthrough, so I hope it helps people in that regard. But I think because I was so slow to completing this walkthrough because I was working on so many other things, not many people are going to use it for a walkthrough. But you can! You totally can use it as a walkthrough. I did try to do as thorough of a job as I could, and once again, I know I could have done a more thorough job if I knew how this game was structured. I probably should have just like dashed to the end of the main game and then gone back and completed all the Photodex pages and gotten all the diamond photos from there. But I am also, I think, one of the few people on YouTube to have done a walkthrough with a complete Photodex and with all diamond photos. I think most people did just get to the end of the game, take photos of Xerneas, maybe did 1 or 2 post-game levels and then call it quits. But I did everything. Am I better for it? Probably not. But, I do live for bragging rights. I can say that I did it. I can say that I am committed to finishing what I started. And I can say that I did the best that I could with this series. And I think it does have its entertaining moments. I think when I discover things for the first time, people got a kick out of that. People got a kick out of me just watching certain Pokemon react to me, like rapidly pressing the A button to try and get photos. Like, it was fun. And I think that this certainly isn't the worst of my video series. I think the quality is still fine. I think the pacing was overall fine. I just acknowledge that as the walkthrough went on and I became more focused on the completion of the game, that's where things definitely took a turn. And I don't want to have to do recording sessions that take 2 or 3 hours for a video that ultimately doesn't provide that significant of a value for my channel. You know what I should do though, before I end this walkthrough? I want to thank everyone who even chose to watch a second of it. Because even though I acknowledge these videos aren't the most entertaining things that I've ever provided for my channel, I really am glad that there were people out there that did enjoy these videos and that did leave likes and that did leave comments and that did offer their support. And I am so grateful for that. And I know I might say that a lot. I know anyone just says, oh, I'm so thankful for my fans. But like, seriously, I'm so grateful that people supported me at all with this walkthrough. Because I know my channel's not doing so hot as of late. I know that my viewership is on the decline, so any viewers that stick around and do watch my videos, it really helps. And I know the advice is obvious, like, I would be a lot more successful if I maybe found a niche, if I was just the Pokemon guy, or heck, if I didn't walk through new Pokemon Snap for a year and a half, right? Like, I get it, I know those things. But the most important thing to me as a creator is being able to do the videos that I want to do. And I acknowledge that I am making a lot of decisions that are ultimately not healthy for the growth of my channel, but they are, in a way, healthy for my mental health. I find that I enjoy making videos so much more when I'm making them for me. And while it hurts to see viewership go down and retention go down and engagement go down, just seeing that fair bit of comments when I upload a video makes me so happy. In the grand scheme of things, I acknowledge that I made these choices to record videos of new Pokemon Snap, to complete this game, to see how a video series would go, and to try and become #1 on my friends list. And when I view things that way, when I realize that I'm kind of doing these things for me and doing things that I want to do, it does make these videos a lot more enjoyable to create. Even if it does take me multiple hours to get one photo of Rockruff or something, at the end of the day, I acknowledge that I'm choosing to do this. And even if I am ultimately doing things for bragging rights, I am satisfied with the way that I get to choose to do things. I think the most important thing that I can do as a content creator is do what I want to do. And if I want to spend 1.5 years playing new Pokemon Snap, then so be it. And that's what I did. So even though this series isn't the strongest on my channel, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad I did it. In the truest sense, for all of you that chose to watch this series, thank you so much. I had fun with this game, and I did have fun making this walkthrough, even if it was tedious at times. I think that there will be things I will look fondly back on this series, but as I've said dozens of times in my little end speech here, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to pursue other challenges, and I'm happy to be done with this game. It's bittersweet. It's quite the big game. I wish it didn't take me so long to complete it, but I'm glad that there's so much content in it. For now, that wraps up this video, and by proxy, that wraps up this walkthrough of new Pokemon Snap. And I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all in future videos. Bye-bye, humans. Whoosh! Hey, thank you for watching my video. If you want to continue to support my content, the best thing you can do is like this video and subscribe to my channel. All you have to do is click the little buttons down below. Also, please be sure to follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with my video schedule. My tag is @RealYoshiller. I hope to see you all in future videos. Bye-bye! Whoosh!